So, Happy New Year's everybody! Looking back, 2025 was a great year for gaming. Personally, I got a new Monster Hunter game. For a lot of people, the highly anticipated Silksong was released, but for the VR players, let's all go take a look at the one VR game that won VR Game of the Year from both the Game Award and the Steam Award. Let's go take a midnight walk. You are the burned one. You wake up in a world surrounded by darkness. Then you meet this little guy called Potboy, and he is the only being in the world that still has fire. Your goal is to go on a midnight walk to reach Moon Mountain so you can relight the world again. Does this feel familiar? Let me say the plot again. You are the burned one. Your body has the only light source left in the world, and your goal is to reach a place where you can relight the world. Not to say that this makes the game bad, because first of all, look at the game. Look at it. It's fucking gorgeous. The models in this game are apparently made with real clay that was scanned and then animated in a stop motion style, which resulted in the Midnight Walk have a very unique art style. From looking around, I think we are in some sort of a toys world because of how big some of the common household items are. A good example is the big ass box of matches that you can often find. But throughout the game, you will be giving more context about the world through the occasional narrator speeches, voice recording, and even talking with the locals. You can even find videotapes that you can watch to get the full picture. So yeah, the actual story is different. I just thought that it's pretty funny how fast the people I explained the game to and I caught on to the Dark Souls one-shot similarity. Anyways, moving on to the gameplay. Despite the name, the gameplay of the Midnight Walk is not just walking. There are 6 chapters in the game with some light puzzle involved. Also some horror sections here and there. For the puzzle, they are mostly about lining up something using Potboy, the matches that I mentioned before, and also a matchlock gun. But the more interesting mechanic is the eye system. In game, when you hold the trigger, you will close your eye. Doing so will highlight the noises around you, helping you to find some hidden items, and some objects in the game need you to close your eye in front of them in order to activate them. But in the setting, it also said that if you have an eye tracker, you can actually close your real eye to make it work too. But I don't have it, so well, for the horror part, this game does it quite well in my opinion. But to be fair, I get scared really easily, so take this section with an extra grain of salt. But in my defense, between the creepy world building, how dark the game usually is, and a good sound design, this game has an excellent spooky atmosphere. The gameplay is usually just about hiding from the monster, either behind some object or inside hiding spot, and there are also some running sections. It's not hard at all. The monster usually walk in a predetermined path and they won't check the hiding spot even when you hide in front of them. You can even close your eye to listen to where the monster is. But I still feel creeped out the entire time for the reason I said before, and the monster being animated in a stop motion style really add to the uncanny valley factor. So overall, the gameplay is quite simple. Not necessarily a bad thing, but let's talk about it later. Let's change things up by talking about the bad parts first. This game is not completely bug-free, with the 2 major bugs that I have. One make it so the game show up in only one eye in the headset, and another make me go outbound, forcing me to restart the checkpoint. To be fair, both of the bugs might have been my fault and they are very rare, but it feels more honest to tell you about it than not. The matchlock gun is a neat mechanic, but in order to reload it, you need to insert matches. But doing that sometimes just leaves the matches floating in mid air. It doesn't actually affect the gameplay in any way, but it does feel jarring. Speaking of jarring, this game does have cutscenes, and to the game's credit, they are all beautifully animated in 3D playing around you, and not just putting you in a void somewhere and have some videos play in front of you. Sometimes it just locks your movement so the cutscene can play, but sometimes it teleports you into panning camera shot. It looks okay in the recording, but experiencing it in a headset can feel a bit disorienting. Some of the gimmicks in this game feel like they could be expanded on. The main example is at the beginning of one of the chapters where you need to move a statue onto a button. In order to do that, you need to close your eye to activate it, but by doing so, it turns the statue into an enemy that chases you. So to do the puzzle, you need to willingly create a monster, then you need to lure that monster to the button, then you need to close your eye in front of the chasing monster and hope that it turns back into a statue before it gets you. From that description, the mechanic should have been perfect for a horror section, but the mechanic gets used in like 2 total puzzles, with one of them being a tutorial, then it never gets used again for the rest of the game. I'm not sure the game being simple is actually a bad thing, because 1, not every game has to be a hardcore Souls-like, and 2 is that it's obvious the point of this game is to take in the visual and the story. So I will leave this point to your own opinion. And with that, let's move on to the good part. Why this game isn't on the Quest platform, which hot take is a good thing because it means that the devs don't have to cut back on anything to make it run on the Quest, like a lot of VR games are basically forced to do nowadays. This game does have a desktop mode so you can experience the game without the PC VR setup. I already said again and again that the visuals in this game are very good. I still haven't talked about how great the music in this game is. I'm not saying that the music carried this game, but the OST come bundled with the base game for a reason, okay? Here, listen to some example. So yeah, again, the gameplay is really basic, but if you are okay with a simple game and just want to take in the experience, definitely give the Midnight Walk a try. And if you did try the game, let me know in the comments if this game deserves to be the 2025 winners of VR game or not. Anyways, that's enough from me. Thank you if you make it this far. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you all later.